to really check if the node was successfully created, you have to do the same process. So you take the T function with the replacement, replace it with your random string for the node title, then look onto the, use the XML browser, use an assertion to search for the string, and see, hey, the string is displayed in this page, so I think my module is working, the node is really now treated into Drupal's database, and everything is fine. Of course, you can additionally really look up the database table for the title or whatever you can imagine, but point about all this is if the message really shows on Drupal, you can be sure that the whole API of Drupal did completely run and everything's fine. That's the reason we use a web browser, not an SQL call. We try to use the HTML, the produced HTML for our checks because it's much more reliable. You have a load of assertions. True, false, null, not equal, identical, not identical. Please look this up for yourself. The documentation is still wrong. It's recommended not to use T for those, for those testing responses, because the multilingual maintainers were driven nuts by this. I know there's this thread about that I think Russian translators said, hey, there are thousands of simple test strings. They're only for dev users. The devs should really speak English if they're developing for Drupal, so why do I have to translate it? They agreed that to leave those strings out. This documentation is still wrong. I believe everybody would be happy if you remove it. So just ignore the usage of T here. Then this again is a very interesting part. Checking page results, you can assert expectations. I'm not an English native speaker, so assert a name means to me that I expect something on the page, and you can use some regular expressions. More interesting stuff is assert raw and assert not raw. Raw means you are really looking through the HTML of the page, and assert no raw means simple XML will be used to remove every HTML tag from the page. So you're just checking content that is inside of a P tag or maybe of div, titles for image tags and stuff like this, title of the page, but you won't find any meta tags or any attributes inside of HTML, so you can expect this is a real string content of the page. This is quite interesting. Yeah, here we got some more assertions like text and title of the page, unique text. Just look through this as a very, very, very supportive list for everything you want to find on the page or not find on the page. Negotiation of those assertions is an interesting thing. I had some difficulties before because I always thought looking for positive assertion and then negate it. But there is a negative assertion that is true if the text is not on the page. So really get used to it, that you have to, that something that is expected to be not on the page still is true as a result and not false. Pretty for me at least at first. And then you have some form element checks. As I said before, you can't check multiple fields. This uses this is an XPath wrapper. Was quite interesting because at the time, as I wanted to check some form elements, it wasn't in documentation, and someone told me, hey, why you don't use the API we created and use XPath, and great. So simpletest is really moving fast if you're using, especially if you're using it in 6, because everything is backported from Drupal 7. So you got to keep an eye if something changes in the test class. This is only, let's say, 4 months, 6 months old. Really helpful, cool thing. Just check the form element by name or ID and expect some value inside of it. Oh, cool. See, pass, fail, error. Got to say, I don't know this. Should be coming lately. So, and keep an eye on the documentations. People are still adding stuff on a frequent base. It's quite cool. Okay, let's move on. searching, searching for the needle in a haystack. You can test emails with Drupal Mail Wrapper. There's this function, Drupal Mail Wrapper, that is used by modules like SMTP and PHP Mailer. They're getting any mail the system wants to send. Testing mails is working the same way. The Drupal web test case is collecting every mail for you and then puts it into a system variable, Drupal test email collector. You get an array with all information about the emails we called the page tried to send, and you easily can now use a search on this and expect some stuff to be inside. Interesting thing is if you want to test hooks, you have to do a mock-up module. Of course, hook implementation can't be done in a web test case. You really need a module to do this. You can write into the module.info file hidden is true, and the module won't show in the normal module list, but the test can activate it just in the setup function, and then you can test your hooks or whatever you need for a mock-up module for. Debugging tests, quite easy. First thing you should do is activate verbosity. Sadly, this is still a non-default. Verbosity will build a list, will save every call by Drupal post or Drupal get to the browser as files, so you can really see the response. This is quite important to me because I always forget to log in the user. Then I was going nuts because I didn't know why my tests always fail. Yeah, because Drupal just said, hey, you are not allowed to view this content, and the test could never work. So I just forget to log in with my just created user. So just use verbose output. I really recommend this. You can even add with this verbose some stuff, some strings. If you want to do a dump of a big array or something, Drupal will create a file for this, and you can look into this later. I'll show you soon. Problem about this, those names are always the same. Drupal will always save the test response with the same file name. Your browser will cache it. So it took me hours because I just thought, hey, I am logged in. The page clearly shows it, and then I pressed F5 and saw, hey, I wasn't logged in. Great, cool, lost some hours because of some sensitive stuff. So be nice to yourself, activate verbosity, reload those pages clearly so the browser doesn't cache it. Debug is the function from System Inc. You can use it to just add some debug prints to the test response I showed you earlier. What you can't test is art and user experience. That's completely impossible. I mean, everybody will experience this completely different. Themes, there was a discussion on Note 343898 about themes, if they can be tested, and they should be tested, but it's just gone away, and Boomer Tower closed it as a known fix some month ago, sad thing. I would really wish it would take up some pace, because themes should be tested as well, because themes can bring in us multiple pre-processed functions, would be just a wise idea to do. And please use the coder module as well. Simpletest doesn't check the quality of your code, the coder module does. And if you are not applying to the Drupal coding standards, coder module is a great addition just to be a better coder. I always hate it if the coder module shows me, hey, you forgot a space here and there's some space too much. It's an easy thing to do. And Selenium, Selenium IDE I showed later. Selenium IDE is a macro builder. This is really to test some processes on your site. If you want to buy something and you set up Uber cart, it's a pain to buy thousands of products, but Selenium can help you to do this because you do a macro for this, let it run, export it, put it into a Selenium server, push it up to hundreds of browsers, let it run for a week, and then you really know if your system is working or not. This is a really integration test you can do with Selenium. It's a cool thing, and that's definitely not simpletest. Simpletest is just for testing your module's functionality. And easy as it is, thanks. That's my basic presentation. You can find anything I know under this short URL about simpletest, and I really have to say debugging sucks, testing rocks. You can spare yourself a lot of times and reruns of your software if you just use simpletest. It's really cool. Okay, let's do a simple question round, and then I show an example about how I built some tests lately and how you can run them, responses and something. Any questions? Yes?
Is there supposed to be, are we supposed to use a core patch to dissect, to do simple test?
Yeah, you're absolutely expected to do a simple test for a core patch for this Drupal 6 and for Drupal 7, yes. Because, I mean, even if they don't automatically run tests for Drupal 6, I say if you want to do something that is ported over to Drupal 7 or just to persuade Gabor to commit your patches, I believe a simple test for this will really increase your chances to get this patch into core. Anything else? Okay. So, the examples module is quite new to me as well. There's an examples module now on Drupal.org that really makes it easier for us to build examples for our fellow developers. So just have to take a look at it. It has a simple test example. So you got an info file that is normal stuff.
Klick mal auf grün. Nicht den. Tiefer, tiefer.
Okay. Oh. If you look inside of this module, this is normal module stuff. There's just an information module. There's some permissions. There's some simple test success stuff. They are building up their own menu stuff and some explanation about it. So quite a clean and easy module. No, I should go into the module. I really build my own. You can look in this example module. I'm not, as I said before, I'm not really common with this. So let's look into terms of use. That's easier for me to describe what you can do with simple test. I had in terms of use development quite a bit because I think the real developer, she hadn't much time about it, and I added some multilingual options, and the first thing I did is writing a test because I can't make sure if this thing really loads after I added all those things. In terms of use, it's a really easy module. It just added
Ja. Geh nochmal runter.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to create a new account, you get a terms of use box added and a checkbox. I agree with these terms. Problem in Drupal 6 core still is that checkboxes that are required are not really required. You can circumvent this. You can use the I forget the module's name. There is a
Checkbox.
module that
Checkbox.
Checkbox?
Checkbox.
Das heißt das in English. Checkbox? Validate, that's it.
Oh.
You can